State Park. This is down in Port Charlotte. It's much more wild and at-your-own risk kind of place. Jump the fence. Good luck. And its structure's in the middle of the park. I found it by following power lines. So why are there power lines out here? There has to be. It has to be going somewhere. It's since burned down. Someone has vandalized it and destroyed it. I've been visiting this house almost every day for 4 years. I lived right next to the park, and I would go out here every day. And it's infested with black widows and rattlesnakes. This is also the same house. This is from the back angle. I like this photograph more, personally. I think this doesn't do much for me. It's just a standard black and white photo of this side. This photo, however, is very interesting. It's taken with 2 cameras at the same time. It's a 1940s Kodak that I shoot down through using the optics of the old camera, and I shoot down through it with a digital camera. And that's how I get this frame. That's what you see is actually the frame of the old Kodak. I don't know anything about who lived here. I'm the least interested of the group in that stuff. I find these things by myself generally. I tend to be more of the loner. I just follow. I don't look up in the computer for them. I just go. And I follow dirt roads wherever they lead me. I go down them. And that's usually what I do. And I know this was a farm. The Mayaca Forest was a farm at one point that was donated to the state. And this particular house, it still has some of the furniture in it. It still has a calendar. The last day it was occupied was sometime in 1974, 75. And what fascinates me is that people lived in these places. I mean, the conditions are just brutal. I mean, you think about living out here in the middle of, I think the Mayaca Forest is 8,000 acres. And so you're in the middle of this, you've got nothing. There's no running water, there's nothing. No air conditioning, and rattlesnakes, and it just really boggles me that people actually did this and how hard it was to be out there. So apparently that was a turpentine operation and cattle farm, and it runs right next to the Mayaca River. But historically, I know very little about it. I don't know anything about it. I can't find anything about it. Yes.
I have 2 questions. So you titled it Cattle Dock just because...
Well, it's called Cattle Dock Road. The original road that goes through has 2 names. It's a Shell Drive or Cattle Dock Road. Okay. And apparently at one point, that was where all the cattle were brought in and out of that area. There was, on the Mayaca River, there was a large dock, and these flatboats would come, and the cattle, they would use it as like a way station for the cattle, and that's why it's called Cattle Dock Road.
Oh, okay. And my other question is, so you took an old Kodak camera.
Yes.
The reason I'm asking is because I have my mother's old Kodak camera.
Okay. It's a very certain kind. It's the kind with the viewfinder you look down through, yes.
And then, so you balance that somehow and then
I
did
just
digital?
hold one in one hand and use the other one and just shoot through it real half-ass.
Okay.
There's no exact science to it. I've seen some people that build contraptions that look like a periscope. I don't have time for that.
Okay.
Because I've got so many of those old cameras, I have to build a new contraption for each one, and I just hold it in my hand and just go for it. Either it's good or it's not.
Okay, yeah, because I'm going to try that.
I'm not very technical minded with these cameras. I just play with them. I don't know how most of them work.
Yeah, because I have my mother's, for sentimental reasons, and it's like when
it's
you
a
can't
lot of
use-
fun.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm going to try that.
It's
Thanks.
really cool, yes. You need just a short lens, and you got to hold it about like so, and sort of just eyeball it, and hope you get lucky.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes.
About 70 years ago, I made a pinhole camera. I think I still have some of the prints from it, but it looks a lot like.
Yeah, you get that same kind of look, because there's a lot of light leaks inside of that camera, and it's really unexact.
Right, I've even done it with my iPhone.
Yeah, I really like, but you get all the dirt and dust and filth that's inside, the fungus is growing inside of them, and you get all of that look. And that's, so I've got some of my older cameras still even work. The Kodak, that particular, I think it's a Hawkeye or something like that, or Starfire, I can't think of it.
But you can't get film for them anymore.
Sure you can.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Get it on the internet. Now, getting it processed is the whole other problem.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get something done right now, and I can't get it done.
Brian, did that have been
original outhouse. Now, there was another structure that either been hit by a hurricane or a tornado that I have photographs of, and it's twisted around the entire building. It's like someone took it and run it. I've gotten inside of that one, but the roof is collapsed and there's a rattlesnake problem.
Yeah.
I'll actually go with these structures. I go with it.
Well, I was wondering about the name as well, so I was glad you brought up that question, Ruth Merrick, because I was wondering about the name Cattle Dock and how we had arrived at that. It does look a bit like a structure we've studied that's located close to the railroad line, or where the railroad was, down in the Laurel community. Cattle were actually also, one of the earliest cattlemen was, again, William Whitaker, one of our first settlers, so clearly he was an enterprising man. But he ran cattle in the Mayaca region and was one of the first to do that. His brand on the cattle was the number 47, and so that kind of 47 herd, if you will, was known by every cattleman in the region. Again, looking at Grismer, the story of Sarasota, they talk about the success of his cattle. He brought 10 into the region, and that's how the cattle industry began here. And it was lucrative enough that it helped him later in educating his children, putting his kids through school. So,
And
There's
of
more
course-
structures out here too.
Yeah.
I'd love to explore that.
I find them with the power lines and with
Uh-huh.
the pepper plants.
Uh-huh.
They like to infest the house and
Yeah.
root. So if I see those pepper trees, there
Wow.
might be a good chance there's a structure in there.
Uh-huh.
And that's how I find them.
Right, right. Often, we know that the earliest structures, the kitchen would have been a separate building, typically because both the heat of the kitchen was something to be avoided through our long summers, and also the danger of fire. So I know when we were researching the Tatum House, which is now located at Crowley Museum and Nature Center, they had a separate kitchen building from the structure.
Lori, can I stick in a couple more
Of
historical?
course, please do.
For some of the new people in the area, they may not know that we used to be part of Manatee County. And of course, on the Manatee River also, you had the cattle docks to ship the cattle out to the Gulf. But when this was all part of Manatee County, the ratio of cattle to humans was a 10-to-1 ratio. Because a lot of people don't think of us as being a big cattle state, but we were.
Right,
So-
thank you. Ruth Mary Williams is a member of the Sarasota County Historical Commission, as is Dr. Frank Cassell. Thank you for joining us. Am I missing anybody from the commission? No, I don't think so. Thank you, Ruth Mary.
Welcome.
All righty. Any other thoughts or questions? Thanks, Brian.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
He's using film, you use digital. Do you take them in color and print them in black and white, or do you take them in black and white?
These are actually not film, these are digital.
Digital too?
Yeah, that's a film camera that I shot through the optics of.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't shoot, I do
Take
shoot
it-
film, but very rarely.
Do you take it in black and white, or do you take it
Yes,
in color?
a lot of people argue with me about this. I believe the black and white digital image that comes straight out of the camera is much better than a converted image. I don't think they can be converted properly, and I shoot in black and white if I want it to be black and white. And I have no basis in fact for this other than my own eye.
That's usually a good thing.
Great. Want to talk about the pagoda? Dale Ann Clancy.